Coach Martin's got to be nervous when he thinks Lane is the brains of this operation.
No,
he knows who the tech nerd is. He knows.
I'm in good hands. I feel good about it.
Yeah. We should be live any minute here, guys. Or anytime.
I think. Yep, we're up. Yep.
All right.
So let me put this over here. We'll wait just a little bit as the numbers come rolling in. I mean, it's just like watching the electoral vote process.
So you got to tune in about 2:00 this morning to see the real.
That's right. That's when the real, when everything starts coming in. Yeah.
That's when it'll be on YouTube anyway.
Yeah. All right. So we got several on here right now, so we're good. So we'll just go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody once again to the Behind the Mic show. With you as always, Slinging Sammy from Miami, Green Eggs and Hammy. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that anymore, but Green Eggs and Hammy. I'll probably get some feedback kicked off Facebook. But we are with you once again this week. We got some special things going on. We have, and this is good to say, a spring football preview. So that's definitely something you will not say at the high school rank in Illinois very often, but with the damn COVID and all that, things have changed. But we've got definitely some great things going on. Got some great coaches with us tonight, which we'll introduce here in just a little bit. And thank you all for joining us. And of course, this is brought to you by Bill Atwood Insurance, North Wayne Insurance. All your insurance needs, contact Bill Atwood. But with me as always, God, look at that. He is in mind at least. He's on a beach somewhere. Night Train, Big Daddy Lane Pie. How are we doing this week, Lane Pie?
Sammy, we're doing great. We're making lemonade out of lemons. Not a great day at work, but I put on it was a beautiful day outside. We're talking about spring football. We're ushering in that summertime. So this is my full-blown assault on summer. Sunglasses, beach shirt, beach weather. Just encouraging it all because I know in like 2 days it's going to go to crap and rain and be cold again, but I'll take it for right now. So, excited to be talking about football. If nothing else gets me excited for summer than talking football, and with some great coaches here, and is also our special guest today.
That's right. And Lane, you look terrific. I mean, you look good. You got a little sun on that giant forehead of yours. My God, I mean, just like a billboard for it's just amazing. I love it. We are selling that, folks. By the way, if you got any sponsors out there, if you're looking, we are auctioning off Lane's head. So we get 1,000 views a week or so on that giant cranium. So, but he is our tech guy. He is our brains behind the operations. So
Sam, I can fit 3 sponsors on here easy. I mean,
that's like a NASCAR. Yeah. It's beautiful, beautiful. Exactly. And as I said earlier today, we found out Brian Delaney got called into work tonight. He's not happy about it, but we found a guest host who literally had nothing else to do and was nice enough to join us, a Flora alum, now up, I believe he's up by Chicago somewhere. Don't know how often he gets down to Florida to see the fam and everybody. But we have with us number 19 in your scorebook, number 1 in your hearts, Clay Reagan. Clay Reagan, how are we doing this evening?
Great. I can't drink like Brian Delaney. I don't have all the jokes Brian Delaney has, but I'll be more than willing to step in and do the best I can. Drink a Guinness or something and just enjoy our time. I'm looking forward to catching up with some coaches and talking football again. It's been, it's been 8 years since I coached high school football. So it'll be a good conversation.
Indeed. And we've already got some comments. Your buddy and ours, J.R. Lewis, he thinks Reagan's forehead might be bigger than Lane's. So we also have that sponsorship out there. So
I think it's a poor camera angle on my part.
It's in no way due to hair loss or age.
I don't do a whole lot of Zoom, so I gotta figure this out.
Yeah, that's right. It's all right. You'll be fine.
Anything for the program. Anything for the program.
For the people.
Just like any good football season and any good football team, we don't rebuild. We just reload. We have people in. We just bring them in, boom, and they're just naturals right off the bat.
Yeah,
so
that's right. That's right. Yeah, unless you go on vacation or something, then we're just screwed because then it comes out of the tech stuff. Just like, well, I guess we just, I don't know what we'll do. We'll figure it out. But with this week,
I was just thinking that if JR did want to use my forehead, maybe we could advertise for some Kentucky basketball players.
Oh yes, they need the help. So
they could I could get a UK on here, and I mean we could get some things on there because we certainly could use that.
That's true.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know what? And that's a great call, Clay. That's why you're on the show, because you're a smart ass like myself, and I love it. It's fantastic. So keep that going.
And it's a great segue for J.R. Lewis's podcast, View from the Bench.
Very good, Lane. Yes. Yes, because nobody had a better view from the bench than J.R. Lewis, because he never actually played. So if you want terrible sports takes, check out J.R. Lewis's View from the Bench podcast. He's always got some great ones. And also Colin Dickey chimes in here right off the bat. What is Clay Reagan bringing to the table tonight? What can you give us? Maybe you talked about what Delaney does, but what about you? What makes you maybe better than Delaney this week? What do you think?
Oh God, nothing. I don't think anything. No,
it's not a good start, but keep going.
No. I guess if I'm applying for the job, I'm not going to get it here.
You don't want this free job.
I guess I'd probably have to say I'm just a tad bit better looking than Delaney. I do not slur like Delaney, and I probably don't drink like Delaney, but I'm guessing my football bullshit is better than his.
That'll go with.
I think so. Yeah.
Plus,
you at least played the game. That's right. Yeah.
And he mentioned he coached. So plus, to round out the whole table here, all of us have coached college or high school football in some aspect at some point in time.
That's right.
I got 12 years over. I got 12 years over.
12 years.
So.
Yeah. Delaney was too busy being a priss, just basketball only. You know, he wouldn't get on the
track.
Wouldn't get on the field. So
he's a track athlete too.
Yeah, well, that too. Well, whatever. Anyway, so in saying that, we have with us three fantastic high school football coaches that made time tonight as things have really started to take off, and we're fortunate enough to have some spring football. So we want to welcome first from Marion and Marion High School, Coach Kerry Martin with us. As always, and God, he's looking great in that shirt. I mean, oh, look at that.
Baby.
My man, that's right.
Yeah.
So down in Marion.
This
So
is
thank
how
you,
you
Coach,
get on
for joining
the show right here, baby. This is how you get on the show.
That's right. You went on the show. You put on the shirt. That's right. So yeah, we got a line waiting down the street. So we got Coach Martin with us, and of course we're going to talk more and more. So thank him for being here. We also have from Benton High School, Grovesy, Justin Groves. Thanks for making the time, Coach. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It'd be a lot better when my shirt gets in the mail. I haven't seen it yet, so I guess if that's what it takes to get on, I don't know. Maybe you like me better than Kerry. I don't know.
I mean, it's in the mail. It has. The mail's been messed up for about the past year.
Oh,
so,
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Trust me.
So
it had to go through Texas.
That's right. It should be at any time now. Anytime. We'll work on that. Don't worry about that. And then finally with us, one McDoubles Eaton. Boy, football coaching, baseball coaching, does the time clock at basketball games. Just, I don't know. And in between that, he's having kids every other year. I tell you what, but we got Brian McTackett with us. Tackett, how are we doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys. I haven't been home to change yet, so I didn't put my BTM shirt on. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. So next time, let's make sure that happens. I mean, it's a good way to get banned on stuff like that. So yeah. God knows you don't want to get banned from this show, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's right. All right. So we're going to head and get going here. And once again, thanks to everybody that has tuned in and is watching along. And Reagan, I don't know what it is with your deal, but I'm watching along on my phone here, and it just says AC Reagan is watching, and it's like 85 times in a row. So I'm not sure what that is or how, but internet,
it's getting us views. Just let it go.
Yeah, I was going to say internet superhighway. Does that count?
You didn't think I was going to come on here and have the least viewed show in history, right?
Got everybody watching, I'm sure.
I got all 3,400 of my students watching this show right now.
Oh, outstanding. Boy,
there we go.
In with the kids now. Yeah, watch out. The show just got a bunch younger. All right. So anyway, once again, thanks everybody making the time. This is going to be a lot of fun and talk about something new, and some good news and how things are going. So, and we'll have some random questions. If you've got questions at home, those of you watching, feel free to ask and check in, and we'll go from there. So one of my first questions is, and probably obvious to anyone out there, is, and any coach can take this and off and running with it like a herd of turtles, but talk about the challenges that you're dealing with spring football and COVID and all that wrapped into one. So who wants to take that fun question and talk to us about the challenges and what you and your staff are doing to deal with it?
I'll go, Sam.
Okay.
It's been a smoother transition than I think that people might realize, because really the more difficult transition occurred in the summertime. From my perspective, I think the summertime was a really bizarre time as far as temperature checks, symptom checks, distancing, stuff we had never had to do before. We did that pretty much all summer. Then we had contact days in the fall, which we continued doing that again. So by the time we began doing that this spring, it's kind of the new normal, to be honest with you. So for me, that difficult part was the summer, and this has become kind of the way we do things now. So wearing a mask at practice and keeping the kids apart and not using the locker room in a traditional manner, that's kind of the way we do things now. So to be honest, it's been strangely kind of back to normal, to be honest. I mean, to play spring football, I thought would be really bizarre, but it just feels like practice again to me right now. And the time of the year is different, Sam, but everything else just seems like we're kind of back in the saddle and doing what we do.
Indeed. Grogsy, what are your thoughts?
Echo those thoughts a little bit. Exactly the same scenario here. And now, once the day we found out we were going to get a chance to play, there was just a buzz that started. So You said the right word, Sam. It was challenges. These aren't problems. People would say we have problems and we're trying to figure out how many people can get in the stadium and all that, which fortunately I don't have to worry about that on a daily basis. But the challenges that come up now are, like, how are we going to pull off this homecoming? And now it's so exciting. And now I feel like, I told the kids the other day at practice, I finally feel like a football coach again for the first time in a long time. And, the kids are just responding so well now that they know, hey, we're not just out here to burn a contact day without the guarantee of a chance to play. And now, we're less than 2 weeks from our first contest, as most everyone is. And I mean, it's game ready. We're getting fired up and getting going. So completely different now. And it feels like I'm a football coach again. It's pretty awesome.
Outstanding. Tackett, your thoughts?
Yeah, Coach Martin's right. I remember our first practice Wednesday, I'm writing out my practice plans and I'm thinking, okay, we need like 20 minutes to go through all our, our check-ins, attempts and all that stuff. And, I forgot myself, the kids are just so used to that stuff anymore. They do it in the morning when they get to school. And, the Coach Carmody from the junior high is usually over down to the field house before I am. And I get out of the high school and, I got down there that first day and all that stuff was already done and taken care of. So, like Coach Groves was right. I just had to relax myself a little bit and feel normal, because I was so I was so uptight about the summer, making sure we did things right and followed all our protocols, and we're still doing that. It's just that, and now I don't have to worry about that so much. The kids they're just used to it, and I think the mask while practicing and that sort of thing. I mean, the kids are just happy to be out there, and you could told them. Whatever, but you had kids that just were fired up to go last Wednesday and get going. I don't think it doesn't feel any different anymore. It's like one of the coaches said, it's just normal now.
Amazing what you can get used to.
Yeah, I had 1993 in my stomach excitement last day, and I mean it kind of surprised me how I feel like Justin and Brian both that. I was so excited last Wednesday. I felt like it was my third or fourth year of coaching. It was just a great feeling to be back and coaching for real, not coaching for maybe. We knew we were playing for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good.
Guys, I think, and coaches, you probably echo this, and it's a different time of year, but football season kicks off your school year every year. And that starts your buzz and that brings kids together.
Good point.
And my hope is that, this position where we're at right now, that we can have a great ending for our seniors and they can end that school year like they normally begin with that rally and that buzz and just that, they deserve it. And man, it's been tough for everyone. And I think they deserve to go out on their way. So I'm hoping that football right now can send them out on top.
That's a good point.
Oh, look at Clay Reagan contributing right off the bat, and
he did.
yeah, Yeah, he
Brian
really
Delaney's never said anything that insightful.
No,
no. I mean, again, Sam, you hand off the ball to Reagan. I make a small gap, and he runs it for like 85, touchdown. He's celebrating the end zone.
Once again, my life is easy. Just give it to people with more talent and just let them go. That's right. So, another question I have, guys, in dealing with all this, and of course, kids dealing with something they've never dealt with before, parents dealing with something they've never dealt with before, how much of of course, as anybody that's ever coached knows, you do a whole hell of a lot more than call plays and X's and O's. How much has been put into the mental aspect of kids dealing with issues and, not being able to play football, and these seniors that, Clay brought up, which is a good point. How much of that has your job, entailed as being a head coach when it comes to the mental aspect of all this? Let's start with Tackett first. Tackett.
I've definitely talked to kids probably more about grades than, ever have before, especially last semester, and Clay's right. Cause one of the things he talks about, we're all biased and we played football, coached football, but there's just something more right about high school whenever football is going on. And Friday night there's a game down there, and the kids gathering down there, and half of them not even watch the game, but it just seems like there's something right in the world when football's going on. And last semester when we didn't have anything, constantly checking up on kids, like hey, your grades are slipping a little bit. Talking to kids about that. Me and you said we've talked about, I've shared with you some of our kids, and advice and that sort of thing. And, in the community that we grow up in, there's a lot of idle time, and some of those kids went and got jobs. And, I talked to them about their job, and, and then talked about the kids who are like football one kids who are freaking out about, I got basketball first. It almost felt like, a lot more counseling than I had in years past. Not that we didn't do that before, because it's definitely out there, but a lot and talking to the kids built me up. It kept me through the idle time, and look out there, and we got kids that are just itching to get back out there and just doing everything the right way during the idle time, and they fueled me to keep going. And so it was both. I talked to the kids, and they didn't realize that I needed them to talk to me just as much as they needed me to talk to them. So
absolutely,
there's definitely a lot more of that, these past 12 months.
Very good. Grovesy, your thoughts?
You mentioned their mental health, and to specifically address that, I think, it was important to not give false hope, but to always be hopeful, if that makes sense. And I'm the most hopeful guy there was. I took some advice from some really good people who I trust, and like Kerry Martin and some other people in my life. And it was simple to, try to not overthink things, and to not take this time that we had to try to complicate things. So our offense is a shell of what it normally would be, but we're really good at what we do. And we worked on that summer on. So with that hope, I was trying to just encourage them. And let me tell you what happened. So we weren't able to get into our own facilities here to lift really at all. I can't remember last time I had a team lift. However, a local gym here offered their services, and they said any football player that wants to come lift at Stark's Total Body Fitness in West City, shameless plug, they're more than welcome. So they got our football team in there for free. And let me tell you what happened. We've got some boys that turned into men in the last year, several of which are seniors, several of which are juniors. I could start naming a lot of names, but just one specifically was able to go from, hey, I'm not going to be able to play, I really would like to go to college and play, and he's going to go to Greenville and play next year and literally be almost nothing out of pocket to do that. And that happened because he had some pretty good film from last year, but he grew a couple of inches and put on 30 pounds of muscle, and he'll be a 19-year-old man, I believe, before the season's over. He's a giant. And he's going to be a great baller for us. But to that mental state, we've been in school at Benton at least a minimum of, seeing every kid twice a week now to 4 times a week. And we're off on Fridays still, but we see them. I see my kids all the time. I'm in a great spot. I always see my football boys. And while it may be against the rules in terms of, CDC guidelines, it was just more hugs. It was more high fives. It was more, hey, I love you, bud. That kind of stuff more frequently. And really, I didn't see with my kids too much downside. I know parents would tell me, this really has done wonders for him getting back because he really wasn't in a great spot. But I never let myself get too down about it. I mean, I would have been later if we would have not had an opportunity with these seniors. I mean, for those of you that don't know, I mean, I've got, 14 seniors, and they're all tremendous kids. They're all back from last year. So I'm really excited to show how good they could have been. I don't think we can show how good we are. In 6 weeks, we can show how good we could have potentially been in a normal season. So right now, any mental angst that was there, I think is, if not been erased, it's been at least kind of set aside for now. Those are things we can talk about after the season, but really excited about that for them, that they get a chance to show how good they could have been.
Very good. And Coach Martin.
I think obviously, Sam, there was impact on our kids. I think people know that by what we've seen across the country. They've been impacted by COVID in very silent ways, in very quiet ways that don't manifest themselves, maybe to the naked eye or just to people who see them occasionally. But I think certainly our kids have been impacted. I think the best medicine was getting back to some type of routine. And I think I can see the difference in some of our kids from last week to this week. There's just a getting back into a routine, getting around each other, not once or twice a week, but every day. And having that chance to meet and talk with the kids on a more consistent basis. And I think that's been a big deal. I think I was asked a few years ago by another coach if I felt more like a psychologist than a football coach. And it struck me because I'm like, yeah, every day. I mean, we're using psychology before COVID, but now even more so during COVID. I mean, we're looking for ways to motivate. We're looking for ways when to push and when to give some ground, tough love, tender love, when to administer it and who to give it to and who best responds to this or that. So there's no doubt that coaches have had to change a little bit during this and really amp up the psychology side of coaching, I think, to a level that maybe none of us ever expected. But that's part of the dang job. And I love what Coach Groves and Brian both shared about academics and about always remaining hopeful with our kids. I kept telling our kids, I can't guarantee it, but I do think we'll play in the spring. I really thought the numbers would change. And I'm so glad I was right, because I maybe I did give them a little more hope than maybe I should have. But I just kept believing that we're going to get some kind of season, and I'm glad we did. And I think the last thing I want to say is it is really interesting. It's an interesting observation to see our kids in the spring of a year instead of in the fall, because they changed. They physically filled out, they've grown, they're taller, they're thicker. Our seniors look different. Our juniors look 6 months changed. I mean, it's been kind of weird to see that. I mean, I've never seen our kids play in this time of the year, this late in this year. It makes a difference. It really does. I mean, it makes a difference for every team, not just yours, but every opponent. But it's just kind of cool to see.
Yeah, all those lower level kids growing like they have, that helps a bunch, because they're going to be right back on the field in a couple months. That's what's amazing. I coach track with my offensive coordinator, Coach Webb, and we'll go from football, track, a couple days off, right into football. I mean, there'll be no breaks in the action for us.
Yep. True.
Wow. Yeah. So true.
Yeah. So one quick question I have, obviously we're in a shortened season, so you guys are going to be somewhere around the neighborhood of, I think, 6 games. So one of the things I hope, and I know Coach Groves touched on it, is you guys probably won't implement the full repertoire of what your playbooks and everything could have. But what I'm hopeful for, and just from listening to you guys talk, is what I think we'll get is, instead of every game being like a mini series and it's everybody's playing for the long game, I think you're going to have like a 2-hour movie for your whole season. So I think the intensity level, the camaraderie, and those things that maybe were took for granted in the past will hopefully manifest themselves during this shortened season. I think you may have some, I hope it'll be some really exciting and fun games. I'm looking forward to trying to get out to watch ours locally here, because I love high school football. But that's what I'm hoping, is that you take something away from somebody and now they're really salivating for it, right? I mean, like, I can only imagine if I was in those shoes, what I would be like going into my final season. I've only got 6, but I'm going to make those 6 count, and exactly where the start and finish is. So I hope for all you coaches' sake that's what transpires.
Yep, absolutely.
Reagan, along that line, how did your approach change? I mean, we almost went from, we have no idea if there's going to be football season to the next day. They're like, hey, you guys start on February, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now you're geared up. Now you're ready to go. You know, the season's going to be a little bit shorter. And as you guys said, the off season was sketchy at best. I mean, you know, I know at our school you could have 10 kids in the weight room at a time. Our coaches spent hours trying to get the whole program through the weight room, and it was rough. So what changes? How does it, I mean, how do you adapt to that?
I'll take that one. Pretty simply, it's, we've got a lot of kids that play basketball, believe it or not. I know Benton's not known for having a lot of basketball kids on the football team, but we've got a ton of them. I think all but 2 of them now, 2 or 3 played football. So it's number one, keeping those kids able to compete like they are right now for a conference title, and keeping them healthy. And then at the same time, getting better and improving our lower levels. So with all that, it doesn't leave much time for us, a 3 or a 75 play playbook with, 60 run concepts or 60 passing concepts and 30 run concepts. So the first step was boys cut the playbook in half or less. And we did that. We actually did that back in the summer because I felt like we were going to be good enough that we didn't need as many plays. We need to be really good at what we do, but we cut it in half again. And we're finding now that our kids have adapted really well and they're picking things up fast and it's clicking, quicker than we thought. So we'll add a few more wrinkles, but the playbook shrunk. To me, that was the number one thing. You don't have a lot of time for the middle, and I want my kids to play loose and fast. I tell them that every day. We're not going to be out there thinking, if we're out there thinking, we're not going to do it. So loose, fast, simple offense. Defense is our basic stuff, and hopefully that'll pay some dividends in the weeks to come.
Yeah, it's the same thing for us. I mean, I think that's a great question because it has been on my mind since this COVID process began. And I kept telling my staff, make sure we simplify. And the biggest challenge I think we faced is we went against air and we went against bags for a very long time. And we never touched another human being. And for the first time, we have begun hitting other people. And obviously nothing prepares you. A bag never fully prepares you. Going against air has some severe limitations to how, knowing what you really are made of as a player and as a team. So I think that's been a big part of it is just getting back to blocking people and taking on blocks and trying to make tackles on people. These are just things we haven't been able to do in a way that we've normally done it. So that's been a challenge, I think, for all of us and in a very short amount of time to do it. So simplify and stick to the fundamentals big time right now.
Yeah.
Tackett, anything to add on that?
Well, no, same thing as those guys. We're pretty simple on defense. Sam, you watched us last year. We don't try to do too much. Just guys in the right spot. And offense, same thing. We as those guys, we've cut things down and just like Coach Martin said. We ran so much against air and so much against bags there for a little while. And today was the first day we got some of our basketball guys with us today for the first time, and we were running some team offense, and we did a few things in individuals, and some of the kids had a little gleam in their eye, because we hit somebody besides a royal blue bag or hit somebody other than air for the first time, and did it look great? Better than I thought, and sure there was some dust to knock off, but I mean, the kids had so much fun today. I think it is one of our best practices we've had in a long time. And, for us as coaches too, I was smiling though, like, ooh, yeah. We had a running back and the offensive tackle miscommunication, ran to each other on a play, but I just sat there and laughed. I was like, that's the best hit I've seen in 12 months, So it was fun today. And I look forward to that. And I think maybe a little bit to like Clay's question there was a lot of people talk to me about, hey, it's kind of like spring practice. And I say, yeah, I mean, it is, but at the same time, we've got some seniors that deserve a real season. And, some of those guys, we owe to them to go out there and game plan like we would in the fall and go to win ball games. So, we only get 6, so just get as many as you can.
That's right.
Yeah. Great.
Well, and a question
comments.
that I have about that is one that just kind of is slightly, and you guys have brought it up, you touched on a little bit. but you got kids that have played basketball this whole time. They're only going to have not much time at all, sounds like, before your first games. So did the state give you guys enough time between basketball, football to get these kids prepared to, because, of course, injuries are part of the game. Those are going to happen. You just never know. Nobody's safe from that. It can happen anytime. But without this preparation time, without the time to practice, and to get in a little bit of football shape, because it's totally different from basketball. What are your guys' thoughts on enough preparation time to prevent injuries and to be ready to go for a season? Let's start with Grovesy. Groves, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, so at some point you're going to have to play a game, and that's what we're talking about. So I know we open with West Frankfort week one, which will be here on the 20th. They've had the exact same scenario laid out in front of them that we have. Now, I know some schools have shut down basketball. Let's say a week earlier, they got their conference games in. Some schools are done right now. I don't believe anybody in our conference is. So the bulk of our teams, they're still playing, and they're going to have games up through Friday, and then we're going to have a full week to get ready for West Frankfort. Everybody has the same boat. I just hope that our paddles are a little bigger than everybody else's. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
I'm not trying to be conceited when I say that. I mean, we've got a lot of guys coming back, and our varsity roster's got 47 dudes on it. We had 32 last year. So we've got some guys, we've got plenty of depth, especially on our defensive side of the ball. I've rolled some special teams kids in. I mean, we worked on a backup kickoff team the other day just because we had some time, and, we were able to do some things we've never done before. So I think it's all hands on deck. And when you got a lot of hands, that's going to help a team like us. So again, we're all in the same boat. We've all got the same scenario. So as far as player safety and physicality and being in shape, I mean, just take one kid on our team, for example, Keegan Glover. I mean, he's our quarterback. He's playing in a varsity basketball game right now. He's going to have at least 2 more. He's traveled all over the country since the day the last game got over with. He's been to Texas and Oklahoma in 7-on-7 tournaments. He plays football almost every single day, along with about 15 other guys. Even if they're just out working on our route combinations out on the field, or they're just playing street ball 7-on-7 on that new beautiful turf that we have, whatever it may be, they're getting better every single day. And they've been ready and waiting for this for so long. I'm not too worried about our skilled kids and our linemen. We only have one lineman that plays basketball, and he's in phenomenal shape. He's probably lost 40 pounds since the pandemic hit, and he's twice as strong as he was. He's a machine. That's Hunter Roberts. In fact, he's got abs. I mean, the kid was, his dad wouldn't care if I said it. I mean, I know we're on live here, but he was kind of a heavier set, pudgy kid when he was a freshman, sophomore. Now he's a grown man, and he's, in good shape. Our linemen have been with us every day, so we've been able to get them in shape. So outside of him, we built some depth because kids are missing or for whatever reason. So I think if handled correctly, and if all my condition tests are true, I think we're going to be okay. I don't think we're going to be where we'd normally be after a summer to get in shape, but hopefully our okay is able to go out and play 4 quarters with another team, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Tackett, what about you?
Well, it's a good thing our first game is in the middle of August. It'll be a little bit better in the middle of March for those kids that haven't been doing things. But I echo what like Coach Gross said. The skill guys, a lot of our varsity skill guys are playing basketball, so I know they're doing things. Staying in shape, working on footwork for defensive stuff. I mean, some of the same things that we'd carry over with us into football practice. So. And we got one lineman that plays basketball, and similar situation. He just lost weight. He's in good shape right now, so I don't have any concerns there. Our numbers have gone down a little bit, from last year, and that's going to hurt us a little bit as far as like what Coach Goes was talking about the depth. But with what we've got, we've been able to grow some depth because when the guys are missing, guys that are there and are able to be at practice that aren't playing basketball. Have gotten like first team reps when they maybe weren't usually get first team reps. So that's helped us a lot. We, our basketball team went on like a 2-week shutdown because they had 3 cases, and it was like right as they was getting ready to start playing basketball. And then right when they got back, we got the 12 inches of snow. So there was like 3 weeks of basketball games that got moved back. And we were a school that was going to not schedule basketball this week and kind of let the kids transition over to football. But we just weren't able to do that. Now they got 4 games this week or whatever. So it's been rough for us getting those guys in, but Coach Lee's done a good job. We sat down and we got to kind of plan it out. And sometimes the kids are going to double up a little bit. We've got some kids at like 4:45 come over to us, and then we get them to like 5:30 or whatever. Today was the exact opposite. We got them at 3:30, and then we released them at 4:45 to get something to eat and get ready for the basketball game. We're not real heavy physical with those kids that are doing both, but like one of you guys said, it's a challenge, but that's what life's full is challenges. So you just got to take it head on and do what you can.
Absolutely. And Coach Martin, your thoughts on enough time to prepare injuries?
We're a little bit different. We're a younger team, and a lot of our starters this year will be juniors, and we'll have quite a few sophomores that will play. And so, prepping, I think, younger kids is a little more difficult. I think we've been through a lot with a lot of young minds and a lot of young bodies, but they've got a tremendous amount of potential. Our numbers are really good. They're really strong, but it's just we're young. I think we only have maybe 10 seniors, and not all of them will play a lot. So, we're going to try to get them in as much as we can, but some of them just aren't our starters, and some are. But so we're a fairly young team. I think the bottom line is, Sam, getting kids ready in a window like this, a lot of it depends on the program. What you're doing in the off season, what you've been doing all year, what you've been able to do is the big challenge. Kids are pretty resilient, I think. More resilient than we give them credit for. They've handled this COVID stuff and the distancing and the masks and the symptom checks far better than anyone predicted. So I'm real proud of that. And they've really been an inspiration to me. And I think I come home every night hoping that I did a really good job preparing them for what I think is an essential season for football, our program, and the health and well-being of our sport, because I've talked to a lot of coaches whose numbers are really, really down. We see a lot of schools that have canceled games, lower level games being canceled because the numbers this spring are bad. So I feel fortunate to be on here with guys that I think run great programs, and their kids are in good care. I think kids in those programs are going to be more resilient. They're going to get through this, and those programs will remain healthy. But I think, it's just a matter, Sam, of trying not to rush kids into this, making sure you simplify, taking the time to check your practice schedule out and make sure you're incorporating the right things in there, and not grabbing a basketball kid and demanding he take 70 offensive snaps the first day back. And we acclimate just like we always do. And I agree with Brian. We're blessed that it's not going to be 98 degrees and humid, because that would be a challenge, because our time to get them ready in that kind of shape would be another thing we'd have to be concerned about with heat indexes. So we don't have to worry about that. We may have to acclimate to the cold a little bit, but that's an easier challenge than the heat. So look, we've been through so much, Sam. I've not really thought about fair, unfair. Did they get enough time? I'm just glad we got what we got. I'm excited about it. We got an opportunity. If it's 6 games, let's play 6 games and let's make the most of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I'd like to point out to everybody that's watching at home, and as I'm watching this, is if you're wondering why these 3 guys are in the positions that they are, just pay close attention to what you're watching, because you're dealing with very fragile, young men, and teaching them how to deal with adversity and all that. And then listen to these guys of how they're responding. They're finding the silver lining in everything and finding hope and getting people pushed in the right direction. And that's, why they're great coaches and why they are in leadership positions. So kudos to you guys for handling, this the way you have, because it's not been easy, but so that's awesome to hear. A lot of positivity. Yes, sir.
Sam, I got to say something before you get too far down this road, because last year I had a conversation with Coach Martin, and I don't think he'll mind if I share this, but I know he was contemplating retiring. And at one point, I think it was made public that he was going to retire from coaching. And Coach Martin, I know you got out of teaching, and I'm curious to learn more about how fun that is to be just a football coach again. And, he said that this came out of his mouth, if I quoted him right. So, I come home at night hoping I did a good job. Coach Martin, you said, I think there's a reason that I stuck around to get our team through this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the kids at Marion are blessed, and the coaches and all the football junkies in Southern Illinois are blessed to have you on the sidelines and you are too young and far too good looking to do anything else.
Never retire.
So you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I am so proud of you and so happy that you're doing what you're doing right now.
Well, that means the world coming from you, and it's pretty cool to think that you and Brian have both, Brian played, and both of you guys have coached in my program, and what a blessing, because I mean this game has become, as I contemplated retirement, it really boiled down to relationships with players and coaches and parents, and when all that other stuff, wins and losses, get forgotten, but the legacy for all of us lies in the lives of the people we impact every day, and that's your legacy. Players that left your program, parents you dealt with, coaches you work with, and they go on and they impact lives. That's the only real legacy we have, because the wins and losses people forget about, but it's the impact that matters. And so you guys have impacted me right back. The reciprocation has been amazing. And Sam, you and Brian have that special place, and Clay, my goodness, man, I still think so fondly upon those years we spent together. And Sam, you coached for me as well. And so it's been pretty cool. And I appreciate you sharing that, Justin. But yeah, it's been a strange thing to almost retire and then come back for this, so and wonder. And I prayed about this, pretty heavily. And I didn't know, I felt the Lord wanted me to continue to coach, and I'm thrilled to be back, but it has been a roller coaster ride I really did not expect. And but I know I'm absolutely where I need to be right now. And for whatever reason, for how long, I don't know, but it's been a good decision, and I'm thrilled to be back on the field with these kids right now. So thank you. Appreciate the words.
Yeah. Really quick, and not really as much a question, but kind of a thought, as you guys were talking about paring down and getting ready for a shortened season. It reminds me, my senior year, in the summer I went to the East St. Louis football camp, and I got to hear a coach that I know Coach Martin thinks a lot of, and I know the other two coaches know as well. But Bob Shannon made this one comment, and it plays right into what you were saying. He said, if I run one play exceptional, and I can run that play out of 3 formations, I have 3 great plays. And so I'm sure as the coaches go through and they're doing this, that's what it really takes. It's excellence in a few plays, running out of a lot of different looks, that makes everything really click. And so I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're paring down the playbook and all that. But there's obviously things just like that coaches can do, that, the play may look different, but in the nuts and bolts of it, it's kind of the same. You're just running it out of a different look. And I'll never forget that. Bob Shannon said that. He goes, I have 10 plays that are exceptional, and I just run those out of multiple formations. So, and he's a highly successful football coach at East St. Louis. So,
yeah, it's true. Great point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, that's awesome so far. This show's been great. Just love to sit and talk football and these awesome coaches. Like Robbie Tackett just said, he goes, listen to Coach Martin makes me think I could run through a brick wall. Welcome, Robbie Tackett, to the way we've grown up. So yes, it's very true. All of us have been affected by that, like you were saying. So now, we've talked about the challenges and all that, but now let's get into the actual football. It's getting ready to happen here before too long. So Coach Martin, your first game, and now correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I'm just looking online, but your first game's against Carbondale. Flora Tackett, your first game's against Lawrenceville, and Benton, as Grovesy said, is against West Frankfort, a heated rivalry as well. So starting off with a bang. But how's the team looking, you think, in terms of ready to go? And what are your expectations for this year from what you've seen so far and what you've dealt with? Mick Tackett, let's start with you. What's your expectation for this year? Pretty excited, and what do you think about your first game coming up?
Yeah, you were there with us at that last game at Tuscola, Sam, and I was high on the program, and a lot of excitement that we thought that maybe it had been absent for a little while, and I had a kid that traveled out how many hours to go to that game, and he was jacked up, and he's now on my staff. A kid that played for me a few years ago. There's a lot of excitement around the program, and one of the things that we needed to make sure we do this spring is not lose any of that. And so I've talked to the kids about, there's no playoffs that we can, achieve or get to or anything like that. But, again, nothing changes. We felt like last fall we could probably step on the field and been competitive with all 9 of our opponents and put ourselves in a position to win. And we feel like we can do that this year too, or this spring as well. We dropped some kids that we thought we'd have, but we've already seen some younger kids. We would have been a pretty older team this year, but about 4 or 5 seniors that aren't with us that we would like to have had. and we've gotten a little younger because of that. And we've discovered some young kids that going to be really good for us too, we think, and that's going to help us, I think, for the next fall as well too. But we've talked about Lawrenceville already in practice, and that's kind of, last year talking to you, was always my thing. I haven't really thought too much about the second week too much yet.
Game at a time.
Yeah.
Game at a time. Yeah. I always told you, don't look ahead. Don't ever look ahead. Game at a time.
We got Lawrenceville on the 20th, first game, and that's what we're gearing toward right now. But I think it's going to be a good spring for us. I really do. We got some really, really good skilled kids. And I know next fall we go down to the Black Diamond, and I follow Black Diamond football some, and I think we'll have a set of skilled kids that will be just as good as anybody in that conference down there next year. One of the things that we need to do this spring is kind of develop some of our younger linemen and use some of our senior linemen to bring them along. I think we're going to have a really good spring, and I think that'll springboard us to the fall as well.
Oh, nice play on words. Outstanding. Coach Martin, what's with your first game coming up and your expectations this year? How's it looking?
Well, Carbondale returns a lot of players from a very good team. I think this is a senior class that they've really been banking on for a while. And so they return a lot of really good players, and they were only lost in the regular season last year. So it's exciting to be able to start against a rival like that and actually play them at the beginning and the last game as well of the season. So for our 6 games, 2 of them are against our biggest rival, Carbondale.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Big challenge for us. We also, our second game's against Cahokia, which is also a very talented and big conference rival. So we get out of the gate with this fairly young team. We get out of this gate pretty tough. But like I said, the main thing, I think, Sam, is the preparation has been more. We've looked at some things about the Carbondale game from last year, but it's really getting our kids ready, I think. And I think Brian said something I think so true. This is about letting your seniors have that experience. But I think if you miss the opportunity to develop some young players during this time, because we're going to be playing again very soon. And some of these young guys that we've got a chance to develop right now will be starting for all of us in the fall. And so I look at it as a chance to get a lot of kids on the field, to get a lot of snaps, a lot of experience. We plan on playing a lot of kids. We don't know what kind of shape we're going to be in because of the window we've had, but we're going to play a lot of kids. And like I said, play our seniors, get those young kids on the field, maybe even more so than we normally do, just to get them some snaps, to get them familiar with the speed of varsity football. I want to say the best thing about this, Sam, is when you get a tough schedule and you got this challenge of all the stuff going on, when you've got great kids and great coaches to work with, bring it on, right? I mean, you feel like that you're capable of handling, and you want to go out and face these challenges when you've got the kind of kids we've got that come to practice every single day. We're not looking for kids that are missing. They're there. They want to work hard. They'll do anything we ask of them. And a coaching staff that's loyal and loves the game of football and loves these kids right back. So I feel very blessed. And so we're excited. We're fired up, and playing Carbondale, just a little added extra incentive, I think, for us and Carbondale to be able to open the season against each other. So.
Absolutely. Grovesy, your thoughts, your expectations for the year. You talked about got a bunch coming back. So what are your thoughts? You're muted, Grovesy. You're muted. There you go.
Number one, we'll just pretend like that didn't happen. Number one, my staff's all back. It grew by 1 this year. Coach Seam was going to help us with the D-line this year at the varsity level. Other than that, all the same guys are back with, Coach McCommons leading the defensive crew there, along with Coach Korn and Coach Seaman. And Coach Aaron Webb's my offensive coordinator, with Coach Stowers, Coach Johnson, Coach Kinsman, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody in there somewhere. But we've got great coaching staff. We've added a few freshman coaches, helped develop down there. And, when I look at my defense, we've lost some guys in the middle. And we were concerned because our 2 middle backers, our nose guard and the defensive end, were all we lost. And we replaced them all. And we've got some kids playing that didn't play last year. We got the big Gabe Craig kid, who's a wrestler, state qualifying wrestler. He's back. That's 1 6'3", 6'4" kid. We've got 2 6'4", 6'5" offensive linemen. One being Logan Williams, who's the kid who's going to Greenville. We got a fleet of backs. Swig and Minor are back. Of course, Keegan Glover, as I've mentioned, our quarterback, who's a workaholic, and I mean, he's as ready to go as any kid I've ever coached, and he's you know, the old saying, you don't have to get ready when you stay ready. He's been ready, and he's ready to go. He's ready to lead the charge. I can't wait to see him at practice tomorrow, and then full time once basketball's over on Saturday. And you know, the wide receiving group is like 17 deep now, because we've got a lot of kids that are coming.
Ooh.
You know, we have this unique opportunity. I can come play football. I don't have to go through all the summer conditioning and all the things that crazy Coach Groves makes you do. So our team went from 32 on the varsity level to 47. Our whole program roughly 55 to about 75. So we grew significantly this year, and we found some talented kids that are getting opportunities, and you know, our style of offense leans towards that. So we've got our athletes out right now, and you know, kids like Reed Bumgart and Chase Thomas, all South receiver coming back in, Aiden Newcomb and Peyton Bayless, who caught the big touchdown in the playoff game, and he can throw them as well. You know, we're loaded. We're just loaded with skilled kids across the board. So it's exciting for us, and you know, at the same time, you want to be thinking about, hey, how can we set ourselves up for next year? So hopefully we get in a situation we can play some of these younger kids that are ready to go, and it's I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm ready to go. I can't wait till the 20th.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is you weren't able to move on from Brent Johnson. We couldn't find a replacement for him on your staff.
You said you were going to come, and then you didn't, so I had to, you know, keep him around.
I can't get away from the show. I mean, the people. Yeah, it's just, you know. And as you know, I was a better wide receiver than Brent Johnson with my height and jumping ability, way better than Brent Johnson at 6'5". So,
and that breakaway speed you have, Sam.
Oh God, Coach Mark can talk about that. So can Clay. I mean, you know, just
Yes. Wow.
So gifted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So gifted.
Yeah.
Too funny. Funny.
For Mahomes before Mahomes, buddy. I'm telling you.
That's true. Thank you for. I wasn't going to say it, so I'm glad.
The no look pass, the drop down, you know.
The no look pass was just because I
said, that's Sam. I said,
yeah. I noticed Mahomes throws about 80-mile passes at 10 yards. That's Sam.
Same.
Throwing 80 miles an hour at 10 yards just because that's the only person who's going to catch it.
Yep. Don't complain because your fingers broke. That's just the way it goes. You know? So, but no, you guys have definitely surrounded yourself with a lot of great people, and that definitely helps with, and that's why you got such great programs as well. Even a Brent Johnson. I mean, you know, so that's fantastic. But I talked to him the other day. He's very excited as well, coaching up the wide receivers and all that. And I heard he does a good job. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But,
hey, I could tell stories like this.
Oh no!
It leaves us hanging with the story. What's the story?
Edge of the seat.
It is.
Edge of the seat. Now there he is. He's back. Yeah. Oh, you're muted again. Yep. Technical difficulties in Benton. Still muted. Grosey, you're muted.
I'm sorry.
There you go. You're all right. Yeah.
Hey, we do this 4 or 5 times a show with Sam. So
it's part of it. But I'm not freezing. I'm not freezing, everybody.
That's
great. But Rosie left us on. You can tell stories.
I'm on cellular data. My child's trying to buzz in. I don't think she realizes that Dad has things to do besides grab her lunchbox and everything. So it's interesting. No, what I was going to say, I could tell stories about Mr. Johnson all day, just like every coach I have. But I mean, I will say, just as an example, you know, Saturday afternoon, we had to shift some practice times around for our lower levels because they had games in the morning. And, you know, we scheduled a 3:00 freshman practice. And I said, you know what, I'm going to be there because this is a chance for me to just be there and not have to be pulled anywhere. We had the best day. We practiced with our varsity kids in the morning. We got to hang out in between practices, and he came and helped us with freshman practice, and we found some dudes that can play, and we're talking, man, me and you should coach freshman football. They're pretty good, you know, just laughing. But he'll put the same work in, just like all our guys will. You know, our defensive guys will go down and coach a freshman DB just as hard as you will Reed Bumgart. Brent Johnson will coach our all-South wide receiver, Aiden Newcomb, and he'll go down and tell us kid this at his very first practice what he needs to know to be just as good as him someday. And he'll do it just you know, I mean, for free. He's a great man. All of our coaches, they're unbelievable, and we're finally getting that. You know, we all know what each other's thinking kind of feel where, you know, we can kind of finish each other's sentences. So it's going pretty well down here.
Well, very good. Good. Clay, Any other questions for these fine gentlemen that you had? I know you didn't have a lot of preparation today because friggin' Delaney waited till like, I don't know what time it was, listening to Megan. But anything that popped in your head during the day or during this that you wanted to ask?
No, to be honest with you, I think we've covered a lot of good things, and I mean, these are three great guys. I've had an opportunity to be around two of them for sure. And just meeting Justin, I can tell that these are leaders of men. I mean, these are guys who are going to do the right thing for our kids. And as a parent of 11-year-old, I would be happy to have my kid play for any of these guys. And guys, thanks for what you do. I know, when we first got into this business, it was coaching kids, and then all of a sudden it got coaching kids and then coaching dads, and now moms are calling, and it's more than coaching kids now. And we talked about the mental aspect and what we're dealing with now. I've been in the PE world for 21 years and never taught mental, social, emotional health more than I have in the past year and a half.
Right.
We focused on being physically fit and this and that. This is a game. This pandemic's been a game changer. So for you guys, definitely appreciate what you're doing for the kids in your community. Keep up the good work, and definitely wish you guys the best of luck as you guys work through these seasons.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. And Lane Pie, any final thoughts or questions you might have?
No, I just now I know what it's like to follow me sometimes after Reagan's nice statement there. Just wanted to echo the same things. These three guys are great leaders of men, as Clay said, and we do appreciate what you have done. And football means a great deal to all of us here, and we're thankful that there are guys like you who have pushed us through this pandemic to get these young men where they're at. And the one thing I can hope is that obviously great success for all three of you this season, but also on top of that is I hope that through this stuff and through all the trials and hardships that the players and you guys have been through, I hope those players get recognized for if they do continue to want to play their career out somewhere else. And I think you guys are the three that would definitely, show perseverance and would coach that and help those guys through and would obviously make them better than they probably would have been without this pandemic in certain aspects. It's definitely the persevering and battling through hardships. I mean, it's one thing to battle through an injury during a season, but to have a season kind of took from you and then shortened and pushed back to the end of the year is definitely a different thing. So no, I tip my hat to all three of you. Again, Coach Groves, I don't know as well, but I've definitely had him on the show and been here, and he's a great coach. Martin and Taka, I know you guys exceptional coaches. So again, thank you for all you do, and we wish you nothing but best of luck and great success this shortened season.
Thanks, Brian.
That means a lot.
Yeah, all three great people. And if there was just my final question, all three of you, and we'll start with Coach Martin and work our way around it as we close up. What is the one thing through all this pandemic, all of this, the ups and the downs, all that stuff, what is, would you say, maybe one main thing that you've taken from this? I know that's a broad question, but yeah.
It's pretty simple for me. The first thing I thought of was appreciate every day. And I think when we go out to practice, I've never appreciated practice more. I've never appreciated time with my players, my coaches more. I've never appreciated time with my grandson, my wife, my family more. I think when you, like someone said earlier, when you lose something and you really lose it and you don't know when you're going to get it back, and you see the world changing around you in ways you never imagined. A year ago right now, our world flipped upside down. And Sam, I have left, I think, like a lot of people, very changed in a lot of ways. And I think some of the ways I hope are for the better, much more appreciative. And I tell you what, Sam, there's not a lot. I've never been this flexible. I've never been this fluid. I've never been this, my ability to adapt and change. And you call me and say, I need these 6 kids and we're going to, I can adapt to a lot more than I could earlier. No doubt. Yep.
Very good. Okay. Grovesy, what about you?
Sam, I've learned that you're not as smart as maybe you think you are. You got to bring the closer in at the end. You can't put him first on the last question.
Well, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to set you guys up for failure, or then, what do you, yeah. So, I mean, you just be you, Grovesy. That's why you're on.
I feel like I'm trying to step out after Mariano struck the last guy out. I mean, who's going to stick around and watch that show? So listen, So here's how I'm going to handle this.
Uh-huh.
Echo every single thing he said, because I could not possibly articulate the alphabet better than him.
Right.
So what he said, just give me credit for seconding that. And I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to go a different direction because you said it was a vague question. Here's where I stand on this. I said when this started that some people, because when we were locked down at home, yeah, I understand how rough it was. We're in a little bit different part of the country than Chicago, New York. Some of that, I mean, we didn't even see cases here for some time, like we were in different parts of the country. And I feel, terrible for places that were hit like they were. And even here, we had some cases and we had some deaths, but overall, we've been pretty well off. I said when this started that some people were going to have the best or one of the times of their life, a time they would never forget. And I hope that some people would. For example, some people got to sit down and eat dinner with their family every night for 2 weeks in a row, mine being one of them. Some people got to spend countless hours with their children, which wouldn't have happened in a normal year. I got to go to every single match that my young lady, my young daughter, or my oldest daughter, she's a freshman in high school and she's turned into a young woman since this thing started, really has matured a lot. But I got to go watch every single golf match that she played this year. And she ended up being, playing on our varsity golf team. I wouldn't have got to see maybe 1 or 2 matches in a normal year. So just a relationship with her, being at school with me every day now and watching her grow and develop into a really good young woman who's doing well in school, and she's learning algebra. I mean, who'd have thought, she's doing her work on her own and things that just really didn't know how it was going to go for her freshman year. That's my takeaway is, I was able to grow close, not just with her. I have another daughter and my wife, of course. We made the best of it as a family, and we grew closer together. Football aside, I mean, football. I echo what Coach Martin said, of course, and I'm just really happy that I got the time I got with my wife and my children.
Outstanding. Very good. See, and yeah, I mean, you thought, no, you did great. You did great. I mean, it's tough to follow a coach, but you did great. And Tackett, your thoughts?
I thought 2 things when you asked that question, and they kind of both hit on it. But first I thought in a weird way, tough times make tough people, and you get to see some of our kids. We had students here that the dad had passed away from COVID, and you see kids, well, maybe not just my athletes, but even just the kids here at school go through that. And, my athletes themselves kind of go through the unknown and how some of them rose up and they just seem more of almost, especially our seniors, I guess our older kids, they seem much more older and more mature to me right now. I've seen a lot of growth in the youth of this community, and that's never a bad thing. I know the situation that surrounded everything was bad and negative, but to see some of our kids and then what they've done the last few months. We got a kid here at the school, not an athlete, but he's been in the Cardinal Glennon for the last 2 weeks with a pretty serious condition, and seeing what the kids at the school have done to raise money for his parents and to get back and forth and pay for gas and food and that type of thing. And sometimes I don't know, maybe seeing what everything was happening on the news made them appreciate more, something like that in this community and care more for other people. But I've seen that with kids, and even when we're together as a team, the kids just seem to get along a little bit better. I think maybe they appreciate the time that they have, and that kind of goes with what the 2 coaches said. Everything don't take anything for granted, and I love being with my football kids, and being away from them was tough. But it also, I got to spend, like Coach Gross said, some time with my family in the month of August and September and in October that I never do. And my first 2 kids, Lincoln was born literally about 2 weeks before the first baseball game of the season. Ledger was born on the first day of 2-a-days. That's my very first varsity season. So, when those 2 were born, sometimes I come home at night, and the only time I got to see them was peeking in on the crib, to see them by the time I got home. Now Langston was born in the middle of June, and I was there, and I don't know if it I've been there, been able to spend more time with the family than I have with the other two kids being born and Mindy. And I appreciate that. And I think, hopefully it made me a better husband, better father. And you just got to just take the opportunities that we can get out of this pandemic and make them as positive as we can. But I've seen it with our youth and hopefully me, myself a little bit too, maybe.
Amen.
See, look at that.
Sure.
All three fantastic. Fantastic. Sure. All right. And I mean, you think you can't follow, but you all did great. So see, we all learn, we all adapt, you're all doing great. So, and once again, we want to thank Bill Atwood Insurance. Make sure and contact him, folks, for all your insurance needs at North Wayne Insurance, our loan sponsor, the brave one that does it. So we thank him for that. He's still hanging in there. But Clay Reagan, thank you again for making the time. You did a fantastic job. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, if everyone could get on our next poll and vote Brian Delaney out and vote me in, that'd be great. That poll
I see a poll coming in the morning. Yeah, the tournament has ended for greatest athletes, so now we have a new poll. You versus Delaney. I think that will get a lot of traction. Yeah, that's a good idea. But no, thank you again. It was fantastic. You were great. I knew you would be. And Delaney, we sorry you had to work. Lane Pie, anything to offer before we give these guys their evening back?
Not really. I mean, just the conversation here today. We wanted to focus on football, but obviously we touched on a lot more subjects than that, and it just shows you the versatility of what these three guys are doing, and how they're impacting their athletes, not just through football but through life as a whole. So again, just to reiterate what I said earlier, kudos to all three of you, and it was a great episode. Appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us, and again, nothing but the best of luck and then success this season.
Absolutely. Yep. Can't wait to go watch some games. Coaches, once again, thank you for all that you have done and continue to do. All three great people, great mentors, and they continue to be. I still never leave Coach Martin alone, and he still answers my texts and phone calls. So that's always appreciated. Groves, he's a fantastic person. Benton's very lucky to have him. And of course, Chacut, we love him. And, we're very happy for everybody. And if one theme, I'll leave you with this that I got from this show, which was awesome, is all these three guys have shown you, and it's been a hell of a year. It's been tough, but you can feel it now with things are starting to open up a little bit. Maybe things are hopefully, I don't want to jinx anything, but hopefully things are getting back a little bit normal, and that you can tell, with the sun coming out, the positivity and all that. And if nothing else, as I got from this, I think I've seen this on Facebook, is focus on the silver lining, not the cloud. And I think these three gentlemen have reiterated that over and over throughout this broadcast. So if those of you watching at home hopefully got a little something out of that, positive things are coming this way, and even out of a terrible year, hopefully things will get better. So once again, thanks to everybody. Thanks for watching at home. And I think that's about it. So Lane Pie, send us home, Big Daddy.